Bonjour, bonsoir, moi c'est Marcnel Fleurcius. Jodi a, nous présents dans Old National Events Plaza, côté magistrat Evansville là, Stephen Terry a bail troisième discours officiel State of City en baptême, Building What Matter. Discours ça concentré sur avancement ville là, sécurité, opportunité économique et avenir communauté Evansville là.
We've strengthened our blight enforcement, taking steps to hold bad actors accountable and remediating long-standing disinvestment. An example of this came just recently, when we assisted with the cleanup of a mobile community off Oak Hill Road. No one should have to live in such horrible conditions. So we are sending a message loud and clear that Evansville families deserve better. Another key example is through block by block. Using code enforcement, violation data, and crime statistics, we are bringing multiple departments together to offer core city services. But just as important, we knock on doors. We are talking to residents. We are connecting them to services they didn't know were available. It's about meeting people where they are. I remember a neighbor came out of her home and she stopped me. One, she was surprised I was in the neighborhood cleaning up. But she said, "Mayor, thank you for not forgetting about our neighborhood. We appreciate the work that you're doing." That moment stuck with me because it reminded me this work is not just about another special initiative. It's about people and changing how people experience our city. We leave neighborhoods looking better, but more importantly, they feel different. Through block by block, we've collected over 20,000 tons of trash. Across the 7 neighborhoods we targeted, we saw significant reductions in trash and weed violations within just 30 days. The Glenwood neighborhood alone, weed violations dropped from 38 down to 6. What we've learned is that when we focus people and resources in one place, it works. But we know demolition or a single cleanup is not the end, it's really the beginning. And so I've tasked Dr. Kobe Jackson and the Department of Metropolitan Development to work with the Land Bank Board to look at acquiring the land where we've raised structures so that we can fill those vacant parcels with safe, stable housing. The city is partnering with CDFI Friendly through its Jumpstart EVV program designed to equip aspiring real estate developers with the knowledge and the tools to build or rehab quality, affordable housing in Evansville. New census data shows us that Evansville's population has declined since 2020. Although we did see a slight growth from 24 to 25. And this is important because it reinforces why this work matters. If we want to grow, if we want to create a city where people want to live, work, and build their future, housing is at the core of any growing city. It impacts everything from workforce growth to neighborhood stability to quality of life. We need it, and we need it at all income levels. And that's why we set a goal of 2,000 units underway by the end of 2027. And we're well on our way to building that, what matters. So today, I'm proud to say that we have 880 units under development with another 346 in the pipeline. That's 1,226 units. 61% of our goal has already been achieved. And that includes projects like the Vault that will be opening later this summer on Main Street. Crawford Door redevelopment in Jacobsville. Franklin Lofts. The Reserve at Eastville, a 240-unit affordable housing development that we'll break ground on very soon. It's a city investment of over $10 million using various city incentives. I've been working since day one to expand affordable housing options alongside private and nonprofit developers. This is also a priority for our state and federal leaders. Cities are awaiting the passage of the 21st Century Road to Housing Act by Congress, which will help move forward action to strengthen affordable housing. So we're not slowing down. Our growth is steady, but we want it to accelerate. And if we want to grow our population, we also have to make it easier to build. That means modernizing outdated processes, reducing the red tape, and speeding up approvals. This is something we hear frequently from developers and investors. So we're implementing the Enterprise Licensing Permitting System, which is a unified digital platform that will transform our permitting, our planning and inspection and code enforcement system. This is a step forward to create faster turnaround times, to improve the service that we offer, but also offer better coordination among departments. This system is part of our broader effort to modernize how city government operates and how residents and businesses communicate with City Hall. That work also includes the development of a new city website that will provide a more welcoming, user-friendly experience for accessing city services and doing business with us. If you've used our city website, you know it's not easy to find information. And in the world we live in today, people expect government to be accessible, responsive, and easy to navigate, so we are changing that. We now have virtual site review committee meetings and have reduced parking requirements for new developments. Next month, we will host our Doing Business with the City event to connect small and mid-sized businesses with opportunities to work with City of Evansville. This event helps businesses better understand the procurement process. It builds relationships with our department heads and teams them with, allows them to learn and compete for city contracts and certifications. All of this is guided by feedback we heard from our Blue Ribbon Committee that was established in my first year. Because if we want to invest, we must be business friendly and development ready. We must start filling up these vacant buildings and reactivating underused ones, and we simply make it easier for people to invest in Evansville. That's why we now have a city planner in place to help guide our city, how our city grows, and make sure development supports the future we want. All of this work is about positioning Evansville to grow and to compete. And the good news, we are seeing momentum. We're seeing businesses expand. We are seeing companies reinvest. We're working hard for local businesses, and the response is positive. Let's hear from LG Chem Unicil now.
Hi, I'm Jane Ellerelli. I'm president of Unicil. We are a wholly owned subsidiary of LG Chem, which is located in Salisbury. LG decided to invest in Evansville for a few reasons. The first being it's centrally located for our coast-to-coast customers. It also has quite the infrastructure, reasonable cost of living to draw people in. Top-notch schools and medical facilities that keep improving, and mostly because of our team here at Unicil, we have the talent and capabilities to take on the challenge. City of Evansville and EREP were instrumental in helping us to develop our growth for a few reasons. So EREP reached out to us as soon as they knew we were working on a potential project. Educated us on the tax abatement process. Pat Hickey worked with me very closely to make sure that we got that we succeeded in that process. City Council was very helpful, very engaged, and very inviting, but also asked the hard questions to make sure that Unicil's growth would benefit Evansville before they approved the tax abatement. If I had an opportunity to tell other companies why they should invest in Evansville, I would let them know that Evansville is a very sound investment. The services provided by the city and by EREP will help guide you through the experience. The local contractors, you can rely on them, honest, reputable, professional, and the universities provide the talent that they're looking for.
$53 million plus expansion that includes more than 100 high-wage jobs over time. And this is the result of our partnership with the Evansville Regional Economic Partnership to attract new opportunities and to retain business in our state. But we also know that growth doesn't just happen. You have to be ready for it. In order to attract businesses, you have to be able to easily access our city. We have two major efforts underway. With I-69 Ohio River Crossing, we have an opportunity in front of us, and we must be prepared to meet it. The approach work will be completed later this year, and the bridge by 2031. This project will put Evansville in a stronger position to attract and to grow business. We're also seeing that in our airport. In 2025, Evansville Regional Airport saw a 19% increase usage compared to the year before. Yes, some of that came from expanded service, but it also came because people in this community are choosing to fly EVV first, and that matters. Because the most important thing that we can do to grow air service is to use what we already have. And that's why we're also investing in the places where life happens. I'm extremely proud of what we've accomplished in 2025 through our parks and recreational facilities under the leadership of Danielle Crook. We now know that this is important to you too, Evansville. In the past year, we have invested over $16 million in our parks and recreational spaces. Let's take a look at some of that work now. You know, it's no secret that Evansville's parks and recreational spaces have needed long overdue attention. For years, they have faced different maintenance with aging equipment and outdated spaces that no longer meet the needs of our community. My administration is on a mission to change that. Since 2024, we've heard directly from the community that we need to do a better job with upkeep of the parks we have. And now we're turning that feedback into visible progress across the city.
Over the past year, we've been rolling up our sleeves and making real improvements in our parks. Everything from the new Garden Park Activity Zone, where we're standing today, to replacement playgrounds in Stevenson, Howell Mini, Fulton, and soon to be Caldwell. Cool to see the development of playgrounds and splash pads, things that are very visible to the community, but a lot of behind the scenes work has to happen in order to keep these parks and facilities going strong.
More than an investment in our parks. It's an investment in people and creating spaces that bring our community together and enhance the quality of life across Evansville. Together, we're moving Evansville forward, one park, one playground, and one neighborhood at a time. That it takes time and resources to touch all 46 parks and recreational facilities. But we're committed to getting there. This year, we will invest another 10 or so million in upgrades. And I'm personally excited about the renovations at the C.K. Newsom Community Center, because as a young girl growing up at the community center, I have some great memories of pageants and youth dances in that space. Work also continues under revision, which is about transforming how people experience our downtown area for generations to come. It is the clearest symbol of Evansville's long-term quality of place ambition. EREP is leading this work with Sasaki, and the schematic design is more than 50% complete, which is laying the foundation for what's to come. And yes, I know many have the first question around who's paying for this. This is a long-term project that will rely on public and private investment. And we know that we have to be thoughtful in how it's phased and how it's funded as we continue working to move the vision forward. A new downtown urban park will open later this year, including a new public restroom on Main Street. And this isn't the only public restroom. Earlier this month, we installed a Portland loo at the corner of Sycamore and Sixth to help accessible 24/7 public restroom access in a high-traffic area. This is with support from the Downtown Economic Improvement District, who will help maintain the loop. But let's be honest, public restrooms are not glamorous, but they matter. They matter for sanitation, for public health, for accessibility, and basic human dignity. Cities that want vibrant downtowns also have to provide the basic amenities people need. Is this a success? We don't know yet. But what I can tell you is that people are using it, so it tells us that the need exists. These may seem like small additions, but they are a part of creating a more welcoming and functional downtown experience for residents and visitors alike. We're also continuing to invest in the cultural identity of our city. That included last year reestablishing the Public Arts Commission to help guide public art, to support our local artists, and to ensure our public spaces reflect the creativity and character of Evansville. Our regional arts and culture plan identified the need for an amphitheater, and we've heard loud and clear about the interest in reviving Mesker Amphitheater. Recognizing the city cannot take on the project of that size alone, we issued an RFP last year to explore partnership opportunities. And even with those efforts, financing challenges at that location remain. So we're continuing to evaluate a path forward, because we know arts, entertainment, and public spaces matter to the long-term vibrancy of our city. And one thing we know about Evansville is that people here rally around the themes that bring energy and pride to our community. What about those thunderbolts? Back-to-back President's Cup. It's exciting for our hockey fans, but it's also just exciting because last year, Brandon McClish and the Evansville Regional Sports Commission confirmed a new agreement to host the Ohio Valley Conference men's and women's basketball, Division I basketball, right here at our Fleurcius. We need to back that arena next spring. Because the economic impact of $2.5 million from that tournament, plus the GLVC and the NBC swim and dive competitions in just a 5-week period is huge for our city. With Explore Evansville and the Sports Commission working together, these organizations, they align facilities and hotels, they secure sponsors, and they deliver the level of execution required to attract repeat championships and national level events. Their collaboration is a key reason why Evansville is now viewed as a trusted destination for major sporting events. We're also looking at how we create more activity and year-round economic opportunities in our city. Demand continues to grow for weather-independent, tournament-ready space, especially for indoor sports that can drive year-round visitation. So now is the time for Evansville to explore the development of an indoor sports facility, one that complements our existing assets and positions the city for the next phase of growth. We're also continuing to see strong momentum at Mesker Park City. Last year was a record-breaking year with more than 229,000 visitors coming through the gates. The inaugural Wild Summer Lights alone, that event alone, saw nearly 50,000 people to the zoo and introduced new visitors from across the region to one of Evansville's greatest assets. At the same time, we continue investing in the long-term care of the animals and the experience for guests through upgraded medical equipment, including new ultrasound and anesthesia technology. Sports, arts, river vision, public restrooms, these are the kinds of investments that strengthen quality of life, they support tourism, and they help make Evansville a destination for families across the region. We're also focused on building what matters, the basics people rely on every day. The Transportation and Other Services Division oversaw several projects, including inlet repairs, maintaining alleyways, and planting a record number of trees. Our roads. Last year, we doubled paving projects, paving 9.33 miles across the city. We also completed the reconstruction of Bakey Avenue, and the final phase of the Walnut Street project was completed. We're forging ahead on our road paving plan for the year. Yes, we had a little setback of our community crossings grant this past winter, but I have committed to using at least $400,000 of ARPA interest to bridge the gap, plus the remaining budgeted funds to ensure that we pave an additional 7 miles this year. And if awarded a fall grant, we will pave even more this year. We have filled 17,000 potholes, and by the end of the year, a new 311 app will make it much easier for residents to report issues and to track progress. We heard you on the need for greater street maintenance. We increased the budget for road maintenance, and we instituted a municipal wheel tax to ensure we continue improving roads and quality and qualify for the new state lane mile distribution. Together, we are making the investments needed to maintain and improve our infrastructure. Maintaining this is a responsibility we all share. This approach allows us to address a long overdue and foundational need, safe, reliable roads. And we recognize we're in this together to build what really matters. Our new city engineer, Brian Lundy, has jumped right in to continue the work that has already been started. We're also expanding how people move through this city. We expanded the Let's Micro program into Jacobsville thanks to support from Deaconess Health System. Additionally, we are now conducting a feasibility study to explore a regional transit authority because access to transportation is access to opportunity. We've also strengthened how we serve residents in other ways, including pets. We've established the Animal Care and Control as its own department, reflecting a stronger commitment to animal welfare. We've updated policies like our foster to adopt program and stray hold times. We expanded outreach and are building a more responsive system for residents. There's no question this is where Missy Mosby is supposed to be. We recognize that local government plays a role in building a more resilient community. That's why we're taking steps to reduce cost and to prepare for the future by installing public EV charging stations, adding more hybrid and electric vehicles, expanding walking trails, and exploring solar options for city facilities. And while we prepare for the future, we also must respond to the infrastructure challenges right in front of us. But not too often we can't see them. While the massive sinkhole on Riverside Drive was the perfect storm, and not on our bingo card, it did surface an urgent infrastructure need. This work is now complete, and we now know we can slow traffic on Riverside Drive if we wanted to. That was from my E-Rep friends. But what we did is EWUSU did not just fix the pipe, they improved our system by seizing the opportunity to separate stormwater flow from the combined sewer, reducing overflows to the Ohio River. And this was a $10 million investment in infrastructure. We've just began renovating the South Water Treatment Plant, replacing aging pumps. We're designing a groundwater treatment plant, and we're conducting field studies for additional wells. I've said this before, but blending groundwater with river water will save hundreds of millions of dollars in the future. And just as important, discussions continue with the US EPA and the Indiana Department of Environmental Management about efforts to reduce overflows to the river from Evansville's combined sewers under the federal consent decree. Looking ahead, there will be multiple water and wastewater projects across the city. Some areas include Ballard Neighborhood, the West Side Improvement, Oak Hill, and many others. And yes, city departments are talking and trying to better coordinate our projects to minimize disruptions. These systems may not be out of sight. They're underground or even underwater, but they are essential to daily life. So thank you to Vic and to your team for protecting public health, our environment, and for supporting economic development. Another critical focus area is public safety. We cannot be the city we want to be unless people feel safe and protected. And I know people are paying attention. We've all seen the headlines. We've seen incidents that give us pause. And every loss of life is a tragedy. That will always be true. One homicide is too many. Behind every statistic is a family, a mother, a child, a neighbor whose life will never be the same. So let's consider the full picture of how we're addressing safety in Evansville. The data shows that in many areas we are making positive strides. And our Chief of Police, Chief Smith, shared recently that violent crime is trending down. Last year we saw homicides decrease by 30%. That's 20 down to 14. Already this year though, we've seen 4 homicides, but with a clearance rate of 100%, which is well above the national average for medium and large sized cities. Property crimes are declining. Overall calls for service are slightly down at a little over 60K, and arrests remain consistent with long-term trends. While we're seeing these downward trends and can acknowledge meaningful progress, other issues like juvenile, fraud, domestic violence, and predatory crimes remain priority concerns. Nearly 300 sworn officers and professional staff serve our community every day. Men and women of the Evansville Police Department, officers like Sam Taylor, put their lives on the line every day and should be commended for the work that they do on behalf of our community to keep it safe. We recognize we're committed to further growth though. That means recruiting and retaining 20 more qualified officers, expanding the department's capacity to do the job well, and to continue the momentum to improve public safety. And we are continuing to expand technology and data-driven strategies that will allow us to be more precise and more responsive. We're launching Drone as the First Responder program on a one-year free trial very soon. And early drone as first responder data shows us that with a 70-second drone arrival, that 1 in 4 calls cleared without dispatching a patrol unit. Here are some examples of EPD's good work. Our city led the way with criminal currency fraud legislation, thanks to Sergeant Van Cleve, our city council, our prosecutor, and Representative McNamara. We doubled the number of homeless interventions in partnership with organizations and elected officials that make up the Commission on Homelessness. Our officers are engaging more directly with our unhoused neighbors. We will always be a city that will treat individuals experiencing crisis with dignity and professionalism. Our mental health unit is expanding its role, increasing crisis interventions and prevention programs. We know homelessness, addiction, and mental health challenges cannot be solved by enforcement alone. They require partnership, prevention, treatment, housing stability, and a community willing to meet people with both accountability and compassion. We're going to stay focused because public safety is the first responsibility of government, but our Evansville community plays a role too. We will do so through continuing our community policing efforts. Through our Citizens Academy program, we're funding community violence intervention and increasing engagement in neighborhoods because we know prevention has to live alongside enforcement. We are also launching a new community-based initiative to reduce gun violence and strengthen community police relationships. We have to approach crime issues from many different angles. We know we cannot prevent every crime, but we can be more strategic in how we address the root causes. That is why through our Forward Together grants and our opioid settlement investments, we are supporting organizations on the ground that are providing real solutions for residents. The $3.2 million we have awarded is not a handout, it's a smart investment. These grant partnerships allow us to tackle issues early and reduce the conditions that lead to crime in the first place. Public safety doesn't start with a 911 call. It starts with addressing poverty, addiction, lack of opportunity, and access to resources. Let's now shift to fire safety. Under the leadership of Chief Tony Knight, we've made some bold strategic changes that are already improving how we serve this community. We've maintained adequate staffing, just 2 positions away from being fully staffed. We've also restructured how we deploy our resources by relocating trucks across the city to improve coverage where it's needed most. And that decision is already making a difference. In 2025, we saw an 18% decrease in full fire alarm response times. That means when you call for help, we are now getting a full crew of firefighters to your home 1 minute and 22 seconds faster than we were just 1 year ago. That 1 minute and 22 seconds may sound small on paper, but in an emergency, it's the difference between a fire contained or a home being lost. We've also secured land for a new fire station at no charge, with construction beginning later this year. And in less than 45 days, ambulance services will move in-house, allowing our fire department to better coordinate emergency response and strengthen service delivery across the city. Our people are in place. Our people are in place, and we have negotiated and agreed on a collective bargaining agreement for the EMS. Let's hear more from our team at EFD.
The ultimate success of this system comes down to people. The people that we bring in to build the system, to manage the system, and to operate the system, because ultimately the customers are the most important people that we need to serve.
We have one thing at the forefront, and that's the community.
What followed was months of planning, training, and coordination.
Protocols had to be built, personnel training, equipment prepared.
Our citizens, our people deserve the best quality. So we are looking for the best paramedics, EMTs, to continue to provide the service that they deserve.
Countless man hours went into the creation of an ambulance system for the city of Evansville that many will never see. Feasibility studies and the planning of the execution of the development of the company, the development of EMS protocols, hiring processes, orientation processes, medical direction, and the planning and execution of the builds for the equipment in the ambulances. And ultimately, the biggest kudos, the biggest thank you goes out to the men and women that helped develop this system that is going to serve the citizens of Evansville proudly for the next 30 plus years.
July 1st is when we go live with our ambulances, and that's when the work really begins.
Then we have to start combing through the data and the statistics to make sure that we have efficiently aligned the resources the way that we felt they should have been. We're going to have to continuously do improvements and stay on top of this so that we're offering the best service to you, the citizens of Evansville, from year in and year out.
A transition like this is more than just a project. It's actually a love of what you do.
It's taken a collaborative approach to be able to build a multifunctional system for EMS for the city of Evansville.
There has been the greatest thought given to every single little detail, whether planning protocols, equipment, the hiring process, the personnel that we want, and the type of culture that we want to set. We're setting the standard high, and we plan to keep it that way.
With my origins being in the EMS world, serving 17 years as a paramedic here in Evansville, to bring that ALS service back to the city of Evansville, back to the city of Evansville's control, and to the Evansville Fire Department to execute is a very proud moment.
I want you to know, citizens of Evansville, there's a new holiday coming this year, and that won't be July 1st.
All this comes down to the kind of city we want to be and the responsibility we have to the people who live here. Public safety matters, and it doesn't improve on its own. It takes people, it takes strategy, and a focus on prevention so that residents can feel the difference in their neighborhoods. The basics matter: clean water, reliable infrastructure. These are not just extras, they are the standard you should be able to count on every single day. So that means we will invest in our systems, but do so responsibly. We will continue to prioritize what's most urgent and pace long-term work in a way that keeps costs manageable for residents. Because we know families across our city are feeling the pressures, from the grocery store to utility bills. So let's talk about affordability for a minute. We hear about it a lot, but affordability has been the focus since day one. This administration will remain laser focused on ensuring we meet the needs of people. That's why when the federal government paused SNAP benefits, Evansville stepped up, investing $500,000 in emergency food assistance. We also suspended water shutoffs and late fees so that families wouldn't have to choose between water and food. And after Centerpoint rates increase, I sat down with their leadership team to ask for $5 million in bill relief. They responded, the foundation responded with a community energy improvement fund. I know people are struggling and people are looking for relief, and that's why the city has stepped up, and we will continue to advocate on your behalf. And with all of this work that's gone on, we have stayed financially disciplined as a city. That means managing our resources carefully while continuing to make smart strategic investments. We've maintained our double bond rating, which is proof that Evansville is financially strong, that we're responsibly managed and prepared for the future. And we're continuing to strengthen transparency by inviting residents to engage in the budgeting process in new ways through community surveys and forums. That commitment to good government is why we were recognized by the Government Finance Officers Association with the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for our 2026 budget. Over the past 2 years, with the leadership of Robert Gunter, our city controller, these efforts have brought back more than $40 million in grant funding back into our community. And at the same time, we're preparing for the challenges ahead. We know the landscape is changing and we're facing real financial pressures, so our team is stepping up. Senate Enrolled Act 1 is reducing the revenue local governments rely on. And we're entering a period of uncertainty. We're not ignoring that reality though, nor are we standing still. Last year, I created a task force to help us plan ahead and to develop strategies to address these challenges. Because we won't be able to simply cut our way through this. We have to adapt and innovate. So that means exploring every option to strengthen our financial position and identify new sustainable revenue so that we can continue delivering the services city residents rely on. And we won't be doing this work in a silo. We will also be working with our county officials. Despite the challenges, I remain confident in where we're headed because we are looking ahead. We must invest in the next generation because investing in our young people matters. Every child in Evansville deserves the opportunity to succeed, and that starts early. That's why we created the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, so young people have a voice in shaping their city. It's why we've connected youth to jobs through our summer job and resource fair, and why My Summer Ride provided more than 15,000 rides last summer, because transportation is not a barrier, shouldn't be a barrier. A mom called our office thanking us for this program because it allowed her daughter to get a job and she didn't have to worry about how she was going to get there. That's what this work is all about, supporting the needs of people. Early this year, we also launched We Read. It's a citywide literacy campaign. And I'm proud to partner with Dr. Dollar Hoover and EVSC because literacy is not just a school issue, it's a community issue. It's a public safety issue. And it's directly tied to long-term success. In school, in the workforce, and in life. Because if we want Evansville to grow and thrive, we have to make sure our children can read confidently by 3rd grade. The path to public safety often begins with early childhood education and literacy. This is building what matters most. And the work we're doing on behalf of our youth is not stopping there. Through the Mayor's Education Roundtable, newly renamed the Children and Youth Cabinet, we are building a cradle-to-career system and approach that supports our kids at every stage of life. That includes expanding access to healthy food through a new nutrition grant from the American Beverage Foundation for a Healthy America, bringing food markets directly into schools in partnership with EVSC and the Evansville Promise neighborhood. I was able to recently attend the African American Mayors Association conference recently where I accepted the award. Let's take a look at how they highlighted our city. Evansville is a great city because it feels like home. A big city that has opportunity, but it's also small where relationships matter. Places to go in Evansville would be our Arts District down in Haney's Corner. You've got a great bar scene, live entertainment, Piece of Cake, which is one of my favorite spots to go to. The Evansville Museum of Arts and Culture and Science, to the Wright Home Museum, to our African American Museum. Evansville is rich in history. The people of Evansville are very diverse. Some of the challenges that families face as it relates to nutrition, access, and education are real. We have nearly 40% of individuals still living in poverty, so it's critical that we minimize the barriers that they face as it relates to nutrition, education, as well as access to affordable, healthy foods. And that's what we're trying to do with the program we're implementing here.
The Healthy Play and Pantry is absolutely crucial in our community because our Promise neighborhood is in a massive food desert. They have academic challenges, economic challenges, and the Promise Neighborhood Grant allows us to laser-like focus on what the families really need, to break down the barriers to access to actually consuming fresh fruits and vegetables. It's not enough to give them a box of vegetables. They have to be excited about preparing it. It has to taste good. It has to be easy. And so we have chefs that can come in and partner with us and teach us how to prepare the vegetable bags that the kids can take home right when they get in and throw in the crock pot and dinner's ready. So we're really, really, really grateful that we can give this opportunity to those families in such a focused way. This is incredibly special because this innovative partnership with our mayor allows us to take all that energy and caring culture in our school and use it for the benefit of those families in the neighborhood.
My office is extremely excited about our partnership with the Evansville Promise neighborhood. It's truly an investment in healthier kids in the city of Evansville. Thank you to the American Beverage Foundation for a Healthy America and the African American Mayor Association for this grant that's going to help improve the health and wellness of our families in the city of Evansville. And I continue to put our heads together. We're discussing additional initiatives that will strengthen outcomes for our children and families. So look to hear more about that very soon. And while there's still work ahead, I believe in this city. When we match people with resources, we get the job done. The foundational work we're doing every single day doesn't show up in the headlines. It often shows up quietly in our everyday lives. When a neighborhood like TP Park feels cared for, when someone feels downtown Park, when a small business can open, when a young person attends a local college, that's what real progress looks like. And that's the standard we hold ourselves to. I believe in the people who keep showing up for their neighborhoods. I believe in the small businesses and the entrepreneurs taking chances. I believe in young people who are stepping up and finding their voice. And I believe in a community that continues to push forward, even when things are difficult. That's what gives me confidence about where we're headed as a city. The state of our city is strong because we are building what matters for the people of Evansville. I believe the best version of Evansville is still in front of us. A city where people can see opportunities, where they feel connected, and where they realize a bright future. And I'm ready to keep doing the work with you for as long as you will allow me to serve. Thank you, and God bless you, and God bless this city.
Please make reservations if you plan to attend these upcoming programs. You can make reservations on our website or in the weekly newsletter link. May 26th, we are back at Bally's in the Executive Conference Center with Nicole Min and a Lloyd for You update. June 2nd, we will reveal this year's winner of the Civic Award. The strength of a city is not measured just by its buildings or businesses, but by the spirit of its people. When community leaders, organizations, and citizens work together, we create a city that continues to grow, thrive, and inspire future generations. Enjoy the rest of the day. This meeting is adjourned.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of information to get out there.
It is, and I would be all over my words doing that, so good for you.
Yeah. It actually went longer than what I thought. We had talked it, yeah. Okay. All right, let's do it.
All right, everybody ready? Great. If you want to go ahead and just say it's like first and last name, just make sure our audio.
All right, Stephanie Terry, STEPHANIE TERRY.
Awesome. So you talked about a lot of different things today. Talk to us. What do you think is the biggest accomplishment over the last year? I mean, you've done a couple of these now, so you've gotten you've gotten it figured out a little bit more, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think some of our biggest, our top ones, of course, is moving emergency medical services in-house, ambulance services into the fire department, which that program, of course, will launch July 1. I think the other big things is the housing work that we've done. We've made significant progress toward our housing goal, which we set out, 2,000 units, and we're over like 61% towards that goal. And then the final piece would be the park and recreational investments that we've been able to make. We made some bold, investments early on and a commitment to doing a better job in our parks and recreational facilities. And so those improvements are now starting to show up, and so it's really exciting to see.
Is there often there are like little things that are actually broken, like brought up here for the first time. I didn't keep track necessarily what that was. news. Do you want to share what the things that you were kind of like breaking?
Oh,
if there was anything.
Breaking news. I had that same question too a lot as I was preparing. I would say in terms of breaking news, number one, we're looking at a new 311 app, which is going to really allow residents to be able to report non-emergency services and things that they need, so that we can be more efficient in responding to those requests. I think the other big thing is again looking at other economic development opportunities like an indoor sports facility, but then also continuing again the work that we're doing from the housing perspective.
One of the things you're talking a little bit, you made a joke there about Riverside Drive. You said, we can close it, it'll be fine. Talk to us, that was a huge project this year. Talk to us a little bit about what happened there and what's anything moving forward on that.
Well, again, what we thought happened was just a small sinkhole, but it was really more than that. And so we seized that opportunity, as I said in the address, is, and really, kind of separating stormwater from the, overflow into the river. And that was a $10 million investment in infrastructure. And it really, it was a test for us too, to really look at, can we slow traffic on Riverside Drive as we think about the future plans of River Vision.
Mayor Terry, after everything you present today, what achievement are you personally most proud of during your administration so far?
I'm not sure exactly what you said at the end.
Yeah, Mayor Terry, after everything you presented today, what achievement are you personally most proud of during your administration so far today?
So I'm probably most proud of really all of our neighborhood revitalization work. That's something I hold dear to my heart. It's the number one priority, and that means, blight removal, housing development, our parks and recreational spaces, but then also infrastructure. So where people live, being able to improve our neighborhoods is the work that I'm most proud of.
Yeah, you're talking about a lot of different goals too moving forward. I know one of those things you said we're about 61% of our way to our goal for housing and affordable housing. Any other goals there? And what are we doing within this next year?
Oh, well, we're going to keep building, hopefully. We're going to hopefully continue to grow businesses in our community, and really just, position ourselves for future growth in the community.
One thing that's obviously top of mind for residents is the rising costs of utility bills. You mentioned it a bit, that new community fund you secured with Centerpoint. Can you just speak a bit more about how that will impact residents?
Well, and I don't know all the 5 pillars, but the foundation at Centerpoint did establish a community fund. It's a commitment of $5 million, and they've broken that up over several different things. So there's some direct bill, I think, weatherization support. There's also some support for small businesses and weatherization programs and other things. They're going to be doing something with economic development, and then also for landlords. So there's some categories that they're rolling it out in different phases. But again, it's an investment of $5 million back into the community in response to the concerns that have been raised over the past year or so.
Yeah, and on that note, what would you just tell residents who just want to see those utility costs come down?
Well, that's a tough question. I think, that want to just see the utility costs. I don't know how to answer that. I'm going to be honest. I don't. I'm sorry.
Going forward, after this year, I know we're going into your final term or your final year of this term as mayor for next year. So 2027, right, is when your first term ends?
Yeah.
Is there anything within this last year that you're really looking to accomplish to, wrap up your first term in office as mayor?
Yeah, I think all the work that I've been talking about, we're full speed ahead in reaching our housing goals, cleaning up and building new housing, getting our public safety, systems in place, getting staff and just getting all those things rolling, and showing results for the people. That's ultimately what you want to do, is show results. 4 years goes by fast, and a 1-year political term, and so it's important that people see results, but we know that it does take some time to make some of those things happen. But I think we're well on track, and we have a lot of momentum and excited about the work ahead.
Absolutely. Your son also got to introduce you today. Talk to me about that special moment. It seems like he was really excited too. And first he's an athlete, and then you're his mom, right?
Yes, that's right. He was pretty excited. Definitely, he's a student here in our community, and looking forward to going to education. So it was great to provide him that opportunity to share something special about his mom.
So obviously you're a bit more than halfway into your first term here. When you were running for office, what was a big issue that you wanted to tackle and you believe have been able to tackle so far?
So the one big issue that we heard about over and over in every debate, every neighborhood listening session was parks. And so I feel really good about how we're addressing deferred maintenance. There have been a number of improvements that we've been able to stuff that we already have. It's not about just building a new park or recreational facility. It's about taking care of what we have, and we are doing just that.
I'd also like to ask, with obviously Evansville taking control of its own emergency services and exploring solar options, can you speak a bit on how Evansville is starting to lean into more self-sufficiency and independence across services?
Yeah, so last year, I think we approved our climate action plan, and a part of that is, again, how we can be more energy efficient. Can we look at other, like solar options, which is what the city is doing now. I think just at the city council meeting the other day, funding was approved and put in place so that we can look at putting solar panels on our city facilities across the community. So it's important that we really take efforts to be a cleaner, greener community, and this is one of the ways that we're doing that.
Just to clarify too, that solar thing is separate from the Sun Co-op, the neighborhood.
It is.
Okay, just want to make sure it goes at that too.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Let's get Tim.
I have a question, but this is similar questions with him.
Okay.
About the cost. How does the city plan to support working families facing rising costs?
So some of the things that we've already done, again, like when there was a pause on the SNAP benefits, the city invested $500,000 to help families directly with access to food. I think we also are doing some support for individuals and residents by the grants that we give to nonprofit organizations. We'll be giving out another $500,000 very soon through our Forward Together grant program. And those are, again, helping with housing. They're helping with literacy programs, youth development programs. And so that has been our way to expand our reach and broaden our reach as a community, as a city, because we can't do that work alone. We have to rely on our community partners, and that's continued, has been really a commitment of mine since coming into office.
That's kind of had to pivot on that topic.
Yeah.
Are there any other topics or any other areas that people kind of wanted to know about that the city's going to have to pivot on?
Outside of Mesker, I really don't think I don't think so. And that was the only one I think today that I mentioned that we needed to pivot on.
This is the first time I've seen the colors presented and the brand display. Yeah. So the word Victory Lap came to mind, even though was there any kind of sense that this was like this felt like a good year to present?
Yeah, so it was a good year. One, we unveiled our new city government branding. That was a part of kind of some of the pomp and circumstance, I think, around that. But it was a tough year, actually. 2025 was a very tough year for us and a very intense year. But I think in a way we've shown that we're resilient. Our team is resilient. We're still trying to innovate and adapt to the challenges that we faced and still continue to move forward. And hopefully some of that progress was shared today in what you heard. And I think more than that, we also wanted to reassure the community this is work that we're excited about doing and looking forward to doing it for as long as the city allows us to do it.
What message would you like to send to immigrant and minority communities in Evansville?
I think my message has been pretty consistent, that Evansville has and will continue to be a welcome city for all. We want to continue to make sure that people feel connected to their community and view them as partners in advancing and growing our city. And we want them to have the best quality of life just like anybody else.
Is there anything else we didn't talk to you about in this address? I know we talked about a lot of different things. Is there anything else we didn't touch on you think is important?
I think we're good.
All right, awesome. She's like, I need a break from talking.
Pendant discours jodi a, magistrat Stephanie Terry mette accent sur effort qu'a fait pour renforcer quartier yo, améliorer relations avec communauté et puis créer plus d'opportunités à travers ville Evansville. Pour plus de reportages local, communautaire, restez branchés avec PolyvraNews. Fleurcius Marcnel.